What's up, y'all? Today I'm going to be sharing my top tips for saving money in college. Now, I actually just graduated from the University of West Georgia, whoop whoop, and I'm going to be sharing with you all the things that I did to stretch my dollar while I was in undergrad. So let's jump right into it. Now, the number one thing I can say that saved me money was knowing where to shop for my books. Now, I know everybody tells you when you first get there, go to the bookstore, or the school tells you at least, because you know they're going to make the most money from that option. But do not, unless you absolutely have to, do not go to the bookstore. My first experience with shopping at the bookstore was for freshman year, and I ended up paying over $500 for my books. I don't even remember how many books it was at the time, but I paid over $500. Since that point, I have never paid, I want to say I never paid over $200, but that might be lying. And that was when my mom bought my books. After she bought my books that semester, that was it. She wasn't buying no more books. And I couldn't afford $500 worth of books, so I had to figure out another way. Now, the first website most people tell you about is Chegg.com. And honestly, once you do a little searching around, Chegg is still expensive. So I'm going to tell you my top 3 book websites that are nearly dirt cheap. Most of my books for a semester have costed me between $80 to $120 tops, and that's for like 6 to 8 books. Now, granted, I am a psychology major. So we don't buy textbooks a lot of the times. We buy a lot of books about philosophy, a lot of books that are written by other psychiatrists. They're paperback books a lot of the times. They're not textbooks. So your major does somewhat determine the price of your books each semester. But I will say that even when I took my math classes and I took my science classes, my books were still cheap through these websites. So my number one website that will give you the best results is abebooks.com. And I remember specifically one time for my psychology class, we needed an actual textbook, and the textbook was like $150 on the bookstore website and on, Amazon and things like that. So one of my friends had actually went to Chegg and she got her book for about $70. So she came to class the next day. Oh yeah, I got that $150 book for $70. And I was like, oh really? I ordered this book for about $5 off of abe.com. And she was like, well, I still think I got a good deal. And I was like, oh, well, you can think that, but I got the better deal, okay? So this website is a website that I'll always go to first, because sometimes they don't have the books you're looking for, but the majority of the time they do. Now, on the off chance they don't have the book that you're looking for, the next website I would check is velourbooks.com, and I'm going to have that link below. The prices actually rival ABE books at times. Now, a lot of the times ABE is cheaper, but sometimes Velour is way cheaper. Like if there's something that's a little bit expensive for ABE and you're like, I don't know about that, you taxing, Velour usually has it for cheaper. And a lot of the times when I'm looking for a textbook or I'm looking for a more recent book, Velour will have it for extremely cheap, and it's still cheaper than Chegg. So check that out as well. Now my next website is half.com, and half.com is similar to ABE, and a lot of the times the books are way cheaper on this website because you have sellers or owners of warehouses who are selling the book for like $2 to $7. And lastly is knetbooks.com, and this is another website that's really good for cheap textbooks. They're not always the cheapest option. This is the last website that I would go to if I just can't find a textbook or I can't find it for cheap. I would check knetbooks.com because sometimes they'll have that book for cheap. And the very last place I would check after all these places, but usually by the time I check all these places, I have the book. Chegg will be my very last resort, but honestly, anything that you find on Chegg, you can find on any of those 4 websites that I shared with you. So definitely use other websites other than Chegg, and do not shop at the bookstore. Now this next tip is a no-brainer, but if you see an event on campus that's giving away free food, do not even think about it, you're going. You're going because you need the food. It don't matter what's going on, you're coming for the food. I don't even know how much money I've saved by eating dinner at campus events throughout the years, and they will really hook you up. Like they'll have pizza, wings. One time I went to an event where it was like breakfast after dark, and there was sausage and biscuits and bacon and grits and pancakes. Like these events, one, you're already paying for them with your tuition and fees, so you might as well utilize them. You're paying for it anyway. And 2, like it's beautiful. They feed you all week long pretty much. Now, speaking of free food, Another way that I saved money while I was in college was by being resourceful in taking surveys. This can be on your campus. Sometimes you'll have other vendors and other companies come onto your campus and ask you to take a survey in exchange for a free Chick-fil-A sandwich, free cookies, free snacks, anything like that. But what I'm talking about in particular is the restaurants that you frequent. A lot of the times when you go to a McDonald's, a Chick-fil-A, a Burger King, a Taco Bell, any of those fast food restaurants, when you get your receipt, at the top of the receipt it says fill out a survey for a free chicken sandwich or fill out a survey for a free Whopper. And if you do the survey and get the code, you can go back to the restaurant, get your free sandwich, and they'll give you another receipt even though you didn't pay for anything, and the same survey invite will be there. So you can technically continue to do those surveys and get free food. It's limitless. I've done this so many times, especially when I got to my junior and senior year and I wasn't living on campus and was not getting campus food, like I wasn't using the dining cafeteria or anything like that. I was pretty much fending for myself when it came to food, and those surveys came in handy so many mornings when I needed breakfast really quick and didn't have the money to have breakfast in my apartment, and I would just go to McDonald's and get a free sausage biscuit from the survey receipt that I had. And I honestly probably did this about 3 times a week for like 2 months. I'm not saying this is the healthiest thing to do, but desperate times call for desperate measures, and I was definitely a broke college student. But something that I did learn while in college was how to stretch my money when I was shopping for groceries. And one of the things I'm most thankful that I came across was a store called Aldi's. Now, I don't know if these are in everyone's area, but Aldi's has a very good balance between quality ingredients and price. Aldi's is able to keep the quality of their food while having really, really, really cheap prices, basically because of how they run their business. They only staff about 3 to 4 employees per store. They use other ways to get the customers to help keep up the store. Like, there isn't a buggy rack in the parking lot. You have to actually take your buggy back up to the store because it costs $0.25 to get a buggy, but you get your quarter back when you put the buggy back. So they use little tips like that just to keep the store up, so they don't have to have the employees do it. Therefore, they don't have to pay a bunch of employees. Therefore, the food is cheaper. And I'm sure there are other ways that they save money, but basically Aldi's, I would go to Aldi's every 2 weeks and my grocery bill was never more than $35. I ate on $30 to $35 worth of food for 2 weeks while I was in college, and it was a lifesaver because I'm telling you, you think Walmart is cheap? Try to go in Walmart and get 2 weeks worth of food with $30. In Aldi's, I'm telling you, like, they have popcorn, a box of popcorn for $1.27. You can get tilapia for like $5 to $6. Tilapia is like $11 at Walmart. You can get a pizza for like $3 to $4. You can get ground turkey for like $5. Like, Aldi's is really, really, really good, and I still shop at Aldi's today. Whenever I move to a new location, I seek out the Aldi's in that area because it just saves you so much money. A lot of the tips that I have for you guys are basically centered around being resourceful, and I will say that one of the most resourceful things that I did while I was in college was to work in areas that I needed to save the most money. I basically paid for all of my college on my own. I didn't have any of my parents' help, and I didn't want to take out a lot of loans. I knew that after I experienced freshman year and I did take out loans, I was like, whoa, like, I need to cut back and minimize as much as I can the student loans that I'm taking out. And one of the largest money drains that I had was housing. Housing was like, I want to say $3,000 a semester at my school. And what I ended up doing was becoming a resident assistant. And that's why I say you want to work in the areas you want to save the most money, because when I became a resident assistant, I got a discount on my housing and I didn't have to take out student loans to cover it. Now, I know a lot of schools usually actually give you housing for free if you're a resident assistant, so you probably wouldn't have put any money towards your housing if you were an RA, which is what it's called. And I'm very thankful that I had the mind to think of that freshman year right off the jump, because I was an RA from sophomore year and junior year, and like I said, it saved me a good chunk of change working in housing for my university. So I would say you can either become a resident assistant if you need to save money on housing, or you can be a community assistant at an apartment complex near your school. Usually they have college apartments nearby the universities, and I also did that, and that saved me quite a bit of money as well. Well, it didn't really save me money, but it helped me work toward paying for my apartment because my hours were based around my rent. There was never a situation where I was like, ooh, I don't know if I'm gonna make rent because they made my hours around my rent. Now, if housing isn't an issue for you and you have more issues like saving money with groceries or with food, or even with like clothing, you can work in those areas. So you can work at a fast food restaurant and get a discount on your food, work at a grocery store and get a discount on your groceries. I know Whole Foods has a really good discount for their employees. If you need to save money on clothes, work in a clothing store and you get like a 20 to 40% off discount in that clothing store. And speaking of clothing, a lot of college students struggle with being able to afford like new clothes while they're in college because you have so many other things to take care of. Your rent, your books, your tuition, your food. It's really hard to have the money left over to take care of buying clothes. So one of the things I learned in college is that you want to be resourceful and find discounted clothing that's still high quality in other ways than just going to the mall or going to, you know, a shopping plaza. So some alternatives to department stores that I found while in college were, number one, thrift stores. Thrift stores are amazing. You just have to look. That's all. It's just, it takes time and it takes patience. And it also, a lot of the times, it depends on when you go to the thrift store. Like, it's helpful to know when they put all their donations out on the floor. There's usually going to be more variety to choose from. So thrift stores were very helpful while I was in college. And also something that I didn't use in college that I actually wished I knew about in college is this app called thredUP. Now, this is not sponsored. They did not ask me to say anything about this app in this video, but I recently discovered this app and it's freaking amazing. I'm the type of person, I love quality, like, and that's what keeps me from buying a lot of clothes, is because what I want is not really in my price range because I want the quality stuff. This app has all types of name brands: Calvin Klein, Michael Kors, Gap, Banana Republic, Zara, name brands. Like, it has all these brands for discounted prices because, one, it's either been gently used, it's kind of like a high-end thrift store, I guess you could say, or two, a lot of the stuff actually has tags on it and it's just discounted because someone did still previously own it, they just never wore it. So I'm gonna have a link in the description box on this app because it's really, really amazing, and I wish I knew about it when I was in college, and I think it would really help out a lot of people who want to still spice up their wardrobe even though they're on a budget, you know? And you deserve to treat yourself. You can also get money from that site by selling your own clothes, so it's a good deal all the way around. So I think I'm gonna wrap this up. I could go on and on and on. Like, I used to hustle so hard in college, and I still hustle now. Even while I'm outside of college, I have student loans to pay off. I have things that I want to buy for like where I live. So I'm still on a budget, and I'm still figuring out ways to save money. I might actually make another video. If you guys are interested, I can make another video on how I save money in college. But for now, I'm gonna wrap it up. I don't want this video to be too long. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and share the video if you think this will help anyone in your life who's about to go to college or who's currently in college and just needs some ideas on how to save some money. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one.